Yo, what's up? Yo, Darius Bailey here, your favorite real estate professional and host of D. Bailey Speaks, the podcast discussing all things mindset, wealth, money, real estate, and of course, family. Today is Christmas Eve, and I'm sitting out here with my son, my oldest son, LeMarkus Bailey. Okay, we're gonna go into him a little bit, but I want to do a little housekeeping. If you're new to this channel, I ask that you please subscribe, engage us, leave your thoughts, comments, all right? Hit that notification bell, and please share this video if you find value in our content, all right? If you want to support this platform, I ask that you go to Cash App and send it over to $Own Atlanta Now. That's Cash App, $Own Atlanta Now, okay? Just so you know, we have two videos going. We have two platforms that we're uploading content on. So you may notice us, transferring our eye attention.
Two different cameras.
Two different cameras, yeah. All right, so without further ado, guys, I'm sitting here with my oldest son, LeMarkus Bailey. I'm going to let him introduce himself in just a bit. And we're going to go from there. So Marcus, if you could kind of, give the audience a little background on yourself, and we'll venture off from there.
All right, so my name is LeMarkus Bailey. I'm 26 years old. I'm currently a coach. I coach football at the high school level. I'm also a teacher. I started teaching actually as an English teacher, but transitioned into full-time physical education, PE, and football, sport. That's how I kind of got into education. I love teaching, influence to the next generation, and football was a big part of my life. I played football from the time I was 9 years old all the way up until about 24.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a big part of my life, and it's actually helped me get to where I am now. Helped me open a lot of doors for myself and get a great education, and it's helped me get into my career currently. And I'm glad to be here today and talk to you guys a little bit about our stories and what we kind of how we were influenced by business, real estate, and that type of thing.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Interesting, that story you just mentioned about your path from football from 9 years old to what, about a year ago, 2 years ago?
Yeah, about 2.
Yeah. You probably don't notice, but as a dad, I engage a lot of other professionals, a lot of people, and they ask me, a lot of guys specifically, and they say, "Who's your favorite team?" And I say, "I really don't have one." They say, "Are you watching the game?" And I say, "No." And there's a reason behind that, because they don't understand. Like you were a former D1 athlete,
yeah.
And I spent from 9 years old to the time you went off to college, engaged, very engaged in your career. And for me as a dad, I played ball, but you were my, not introduction, but you kept me in football.
Right.
And you probably don't notice that my first career path was I wanted to be a professional football player.
Right.
And because I didn't have that mentorship, anyone guiding me, it kind of just, because I had a crazy arm, and
right. Yeah, I know how it is, yeah. But and that's the thing though, I would say I appreciate football is one of those things, sports in general is one of those things where you have people around you that want to see you in it because you want to be in it, and so they're going to help you push you towards it. And that's what happened for me. Like, I love football. Growing up, I didn't start early like a lot of other kids would say. Like, a lot of the kids start like 4 or 5 years old. I started a little later,
which I don't advocate now. I don't know if you knew that. I would have waited till 16. Yeah, honestly.
Okay. No, that's interesting.
That was Warren Sapp's perspective on that. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So you see, with that, more so, I had a big interest in it beyond just just playing. I like the game overall. Like, I like watching it as well. So that was just a big thing for me growing up, and so it's kind of like something that I've always had a part of me, but never knew like how far it would go. I just kind of knew I enjoy playing it. Yeah.
Okay. Let me ask you this: did you, I know going through it, for me, your passion in football caused me, my personality. If you're gonna do something, go hard, put everything into it. And that was my perspective. For my first half of your football career, I was in that mindset. Okay, that's awesome. He wants to play football. Let's see if he's good enough. He's going to take it pro.
Right.
And I don't know how much that rubbed off on you, but I've learned, that was my first half.
Yeah, I think and that's a good point. I think for me, now being a teacher, a coach, my perspective, and being that I played as well, it was a big perspective switch once I was able to get on the other side of it, because I've been part of the media, the football media aspect as well since I've been out as well, and so from being on different perspectives of it, being on the coaching side, being on the player side, then being on even the media side, you get to kind of see the entire picture of football. When you're just a player, you only see it from that perspective a lot of times. You only see it from a player perspective, so it kind of gets you in the cloud of perspective, like this is it, and it is a great way to get achieve your goals. But the thing about it is, when you don't understand that there's a bigger picture, and you get kind of clouded, because I don't know when in my career that I realized that the league wasn't necessarily I'm not gonna say not a desire, but it wasn't priority for me. I think it kind of switched how I looked at the game.
Okay.
And then as you're going through it, injuries play a big part of that. Like I love playing football, but it's more than just loving the game of playing.
Discipline and everything.
It's like fighting through injuries. If you get injured, you gotta come through injury, come from an injury. That plays a big part in your willingness and your motivation to come back and play.
Okay.
So that definitely affects your perspective a little bit. Because if someone said, hey, you wanna go play football? If it was just that easy, I'll go do it in a heartbeat. Because playing is fun, but it's other things. You gotta keep your body in the top physical shape. Your body has to be in a shape that's way higher than the average person, and if you're not at that shape, then you're not giving yourself the best chance to even be successful in the game, which a lot of people don't take that into account. What you see in football is on Saturdays and Sundays and Fridays.
Okay.
But you don't see the week long preparation. We're literally the only sport where you prepare for a whole week
Wow.
just for one game. Literally every other sport, you can have up to 2 games a week.
Okay.
Baseball, they play whole weekends, multiple games in the weekend, in the day.
Wow.
So we're the only sport we prepare for a whole week just to play one game. So
that's interesting you say that, because that was actually that's where our disconnect came after you got to the high level, Mercer University. When you got to that level, that's when it became professional. And you and I, as men, we kind of went our separate direction naturally, manhood. You were early 20s, and I was working, but yeah, that was a part where you were becoming a man disciplined. More discipline, and I wasn't. That was something that I didn't see. Give us an idea. Where was your terminal point in football? When did you notice that football was, it was something that you need to kind of like bury or mourn the loss and move forward?
I think for me, I'm not sure. A lot of athletes will probably say this. When you're done playing, you kind of, sometimes. Some athletes have a better transition than others, but I would say for the majority, you have a disconnect with who you were and who the sport made you into.
Oh, wow.
And so I feel like trying to get back to who you were before the sport is big. Like, for me, I had to tap into, I kind of had some unhappy times after I wasn't playing as much, or after I wasn't playing for fun anymore.
Yeah.
Because I had started to realize, like, why am I doing this? Like, what do I really enjoy about the game? Because waking up, going to work out on your own, coming back from injuries, rehabbing on your own is different than having someone coercing you or motivating you, helping you to be motivated to come back from those things. Because coming back from injury is not easy. I don't care who you are, how old you are, it's not easy. But in college, the difference was I have a team trainer who's there every morning for me to come in there and get that treatment. Help me and make sure I'm there. I kind of just got to walk into it. On the other level, when you're in professional, you're scheduling your own appointments in a way. Like, you got to make sure you're taking care of yourself. It's just like the real world. You're an adult at that point. You're making sure you take care of your own appointments. You may be injured. You may be mentally, down, but you got to still pick yourself up in order to get paid. You got to go play to get paid.
And I'm going to go there. My question was, that transition from D1 level to professional. Give me an idea, take me there, explore, like, what was that transition like, and what was what was that path like, and how did that?
So I
play
played.
out?
So in 2019, after I graduated from college, I went to go play in Germany. So playing in Germany was a really good experience.
Who did you play for?
I played for the Hildesheim Invaders in the GFL, the German Football League.
Okay, Hildesheim Invaders.
Yeah, so it was a great experience. The quality of football was definitely was good. I think a lot of people, obviously the NFL is the biggest league in the world.
Mm-hmm.
People don't know much about the GFL or the European Football League of Football, which is the new league. There's the European League of Football, which is a branch off of that. And so people don't understand the quality of football was good, and most people wouldn't know about it, so they wouldn't even know to the level football is being played. But being over there, it's definitely professional. Like, regardless of salaries, you're still getting paid to play. You're getting paid by an organization, which is the team, to do
a job. Your efforts,
your efforts. And so, regardless of how you want to look at it, the level or whatever, you're still getting paid to perform that job. And if you're not performing to the standard that they want, then you're still liable to be cut. You're liable to be at their mercy.
Okay.
And I think that's one of the biggest things that you got to realize. Like, you may do something that the owner doesn't like, the owner of the team doesn't like.
Politics.
Yeah, so it's different things that go into it. Not saying that that's not how it is in college, but I think after you get out of that perceived, college is still a perceived student, it's still a perceived amateurism.
Okay.
So you're still treated as a kid sometimes. You're still treated as a young man. You're not treated as a professional.
Okay.
At all times. And so there's breaks in that professionalism in college, but in a professional level, regardless if it's NFL, the AFL, whatever, they still expect you to conduct yourself like a professional. You still have to go work out on your own. There's no team workouts. You don't go work out with your team at 8 a.m. every day.
Okay.
But at the professional level, you gotta go work out on your own.
Okay.
You gotta go work out. You're getting paid to work out. If you're not working out, it'll show up. They'll be able to tell that you're not working out.
Okay.
That kind of thing. But yeah, just coming to terms with all the hard things that come with it, and not just saying, "Oh, I'm here, I'm playing." You gotta make sure you're staying prepared at all times.
Wow. So you're in Germany for about a year, right?
I was there from May until late October.
Okay. So you're in a whole other country now. You're playing at the professional level. You have a group of friends that are in the NFL. Bradley Chubb, Kenyon Drake, Evan Ingram. They're all peers. They're all people who went in a different path. You played ball with.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. What was that like? Support system? Did that have any influence on you not staying there longer than you did?
I would say that granted, I love what I was doing. I love playing, but those things that I named earlier, as far as preparing yourself, making sure you're doing all those things on your own. So give perspective. My very first game there, I dislocated my finger. So
wow.
Like, my finger was sideways, right? And I didn't have many experiences with serious injuries, and I wouldn't call that a major injury, but I think to not have many injuries my entire playing career, it's not many serious injuries, and then for that to happen my very first game, it kind of gave me some real perspective. Like, I love what I'm doing, but the very first game I play, I dislocated my finger, and I'm looking at my finger laying on the ground, like, it's like my finger's literally sideways. I'm just looking at it like, seriously,
wow.
And so I think from that moment, I didn't know it was over, but in my mind, I was kind of like, man, is this worth me going through these kind of things just to make money, like put my body on the line just to make money? And
yeah.
And it was like, what, I can get hurt in anything, but there's not many things I can just get hurt just routinely, and dislocate my finger just routinely. So. After that game, I kind of was like, I started questioning a little bit more, and I did enjoy playing every game. I enjoyed making plays, and I think that was the biggest thing. It became more so a pursuit of the next play, like the next big play. Like,
okay.
I started to become more hungry for the next big play instead of enjoying the process.
Oh wow!
Like, I only enjoy
racking up stats and racking up highlights.
I only cared about. It came to the point where I only started caring about racking up big plays, and and you should care about big plays. But the biggest thing that you learn as a coach that I started to realize was, as a coach, you want your players to focus on the next play. You want them to focus on the play that they're currently going through, and then once that play's over, you want to focus on the next play.
Okay. Does that make you selfish? When you're focused on does that take away your team spirit when you're focused on the next big play?
It can in a way, and I think it's more so undisciplined players because you can be a disciplined player and still make big plays all the time and play within your role. But a lot of times, I know I got to the point where, especially late in my career, where it was a pursuit of the big play, and sometimes my frustrations would make me not play within my role.
Okay.
So if I felt like a play was going in a different direction versus than what I was told, then I would use my own instinct, my own, in a way being selfish, right?
Okay.
So because like your coach wants you to do play within the realm of the play call,
okay,
or the defense or whatever it is, and sometimes you come out of that because your mind may not be in it, so it can lead to being selfish. And,
okay.
I recognize that in myself sometimes, but then again, I wouldn't say overall I was a selfish player, but later in my career, like I said, some things weren't worth it. Like I wasn't willing to jump on that pile anymore, or put my head in there to go make a tackle certain times. Like if it's a big pile, or it's little things you start to realize that I used to do this, but I wouldn't do this anymore.
Yeah. I don't know if
couldn't play the game the way I was used to playing, or I had grown up playing the game.
Okay. Now, as your dad, I don't know if you mentioned about some of the things you went through when you were in Germany, injuries and whatnot. But I don't know if you knew this, and I never told you, but this is around the time, I may have discussed this with you, but this is around the time where, like your last few years at Mercer, this is around the time where as a dad, I was the one immediately, directly responsible for you getting into football, coached you for a while and, supported you. But around this time, this is around the time where I started emotionally, like reeling you back in. Okay, this is enough. My perspective on football started to change. I was 24, 25 when you started playing football. Very immature. So around Mercer, this is around the time where emotionally I started. Okay, I want him back home. Let's go football. Let's put it to bed. I didn't tell you that, but this is emotional. This is around the time where I wanted to. Okay, let's start focusing on the next chapter.
Right.
You've done enough injuries. And again, like I say, CTE and all this kind of good stuff, I started learning about this and learning what a lot of professional players were saying about putting their children in football.
They learned late.
Yeah, they wanted, like Warren Sapp, I think he mentioned that he started around the 10th grade. And I heard him mentioning that, and I was like, damn, okay, it's, you didn't have to start 9, 10 years old. And this is around the time where I started experiencing, a little guilt. And, it started taking me to you remember those conversations we had around 10th grade, 11th grade, 30 for 30 and preparing for life after football? Take me into some of those conversations that you recall about us preparing for life after football, investments. Where does that play into your life now? And was that something you can, but led you down the path of hanging up your helmet?
Well, kind of like I've always kind of known that football wasn't the main thing. Like I say, there's a disconnect between who you were and then who football turned you into in a way. Because I had a lot of different interests outside of football before I started playing. And
I want to go there too.
Yeah, like I had a lot of interests, and I feel like from high school, I kind of always was taught, like, just from talking to my parents and my family, like, what is it? What's the bigger picture? Like, going to college was something that football helped me do, and helped me get a career, like get a good career out of it. But I think one thing that football does do is kind of like takes you, if you allow yourself to, just because of what it is, like it's inherently very time consuming. So you're gonna if you're good at something, if you're good enough at something, you'll put a lot of time into it to where to kind of like start to absorb you sometimes. Then you gotta kind of like
opportunity cost.
Yeah, exactly. So you gotta still have that balance. You gotta maintain that balance, and I feel like I did do a good job of creating that balance. So I think my transition from not playing wasn't as bad. Experiencing those injuries was kind of like, I'm kind of glad I actually experienced it the way I did, because I didn't have a very very bad experience or withdrawals from playing.
Okay.
I miss playing. I don't necessarily say I miss playing. Like it's exciting to watch, but now I see why retired guys and guys who used to play, they start to watch more football the older they get, because it's like that's the next best thing is to do that, because your body's not even the same as it was. But I think investing and focusing on that next step was big, because I was already kind of taught that stuff early on. So when it was time to come to that point, I never in my head say football is it, because a lot of guys would think that football, they want to play football for the rest of their life, but reality, regardless, you can play for 30 years, you'll still be in your 30s and 40s. Like even if you play for 30 years, you'll still be in 30s and 40s when you're done playing. So it's like you still have a lot of life left to go, and if you allow it to consume your whole mental for that long, then it'll be even harder to real out of it. And a lot of just what it is, like opportunity cost, you said. But you gotta kind of just keep focused on what are you doing it for?
Okay.
What are you doing it for?
What advice would you give anyone at this point? Let's do this. Give me what one piece of advice would you give for any young men that are pursuing professional career, and what would you give any fathers that are hands-on with their boys?
So I'm gonna try to give to multiple perspectives just because I can. I would say from a coach's perspective, I think the biggest thing that a parent or a dad can do for their son is pretty much just give them that fundamental early before they even start playing sports, because a lot of parents will, they want to, I want my son to be this player or this player. Like, the best thing you can do is give them that fundamental balance coordination, just on a physical level. I think that a lot of parents discredit the actual movement, the natural movements that we do on a daily basis, walking, running, jumping. So work on those things before you even think about your kid being the next Mike Vick or whoever.
Okay.
Because those are the things that's gonna help them carry them through their career. Then on a motivational level, mental level, I think that not getting them caught up in you're doing this because I'm telling you to do it. You get to a level where you want your kids to have their own motivation, but you still want to push them into the things that as a parent will be good, like consistency, like teaching them to be consistent, but letting them be consistent in the things that they want to be consistent in.
Okay.
Like if your kid, if they like basketball, see if they really like it. Tell them to find one thing that they could be consistent in. Tell them to go dribble every day for 30 minutes.
Okay.
That's one thing that they know. So now you're not taking what you want them to do. They told you what they wanted to do. Now all you're doing is encouraging them and helping them and giving them the lessons to do it.
Okay.
Instead of I want you to be next Steph Curry.
Okay.
Like
no, that's not healthy.
It's not healthy, because
healthy goal to put on your child.
Right,
yeah.
That now you'll have that in your head. Now they think, they gotta live up to be Steph Curry. Like, how about they just do? Like, what are the things that Steph Curry's good at?
Okay.
Are good at, like.
All right.
He's good at dribbling, he's good at shooting. Like, let them work on those things consistently, and then see if they really want to be Steph Curry or want to be like Steph Curry.
Okay. One thing you would do differently. If you had an opportunity to go back and rewrite your path from 9 up until now, what would you have done differently, or what would you do differently?
I would say the only thing, as a child, everything was innocent. Everything was innocent, so I wouldn't change anything as a child because it was innocent. I was making it based on what I knew.
Your exposure, yeah.
Yeah, but I think as an adult, when I was starting to make my own decisions, I would say I would finish my master's. I would have finished my master's only because it was free.
Okay, because it was free. Yeah, you had the benefit of a free education.
I got my bachelor's paid for, but I got part of my master's paid for, but I left in order to pursue my professional career, which ended up just being short lived. But it's not a regret. It's just one of those things like I could have got that and still continued to play
for free. Yeah,
for free. I would have got that for free and continued to play. So that was the only thing that would change.
Okay.
Everything else is.
So right now you're a licensed educator, correct? What else do you have going on along the lines of investments? And on the lines of investments and money.
Okay, so
establishing wealth.
So coming out, business was definitely on my mind. Like I wanted to establish an entity that was mine, something that I can help. I can monetize and continue to still do something I like. So currently, there's two businesses that I'm involved in directly. So I told you about sports media earlier. So I work with Inside the Hashes. I'm a writer for Inside the Hashes, as well as a director of operations. So I was able to get in on that company pretty early, and it's something that just helped me to kind of just continue working on something that I enjoyed doing, but also help building a company that was, they could have a big future in the media world. So I was able to intertwine my enjoyment for writing, football, and just being a business owner as well. So that's something that I was able to continue to do. And then Stunt Nation Success, which is another branch of that as well. Pretty much just helping student athletes have broader focuses when it comes to with their sport they're playing. So basically using their sport as a way to learn who they are and branch out their interests, because sports are a big window for me, in my opinion. Like, they're not the end all be all, but they're a good way to even the playing field. I like to call it the great equalizer, because you're not the smartest person in the world. You don't even have to be the most athletic person in the world to go far in sports. You just gotta kind of apply yourself, just like anything. You apply yourself. And as far as investments, like, I've definitely been very interested in real estate. You're a real estate agent and broker, so I think just from seeing you do that while I was in school, it kind of helped me broaden my view and what I see and how I see the world around me. Because when I was in college, I was in Macon, Georgia, so obviously I'm looking at that.
I bought a property down there when you were in school.
You bought a property down there, and so I think Macon, being one of those places where it's a lot of potential for real estate growth. I think I was able to see that every day, and it kind of helped mold my mind in a good way. And just like from the world around me, you start to see the place you're living in. Like, oh, this is an apartment, somebody owns this.
Yeah,
or, I'm renting this house, somebody owns this. Like, who owns this? So it's definitely, it taught me a lot. Playing football, going to college, taught me a lot about real estate, and I think that now I have a kind of good perspective of what I want out of it, and what I can get out of it.
Okay. So a lot has happened since you've left Germany as a professional athlete. You come back and immerse yourself in the civilian world, so to speak. And I say that because I'm military, so I say civilian world. But let me ask you this: Deion Sanders, the superstar athlete. I grew up with Deion Sanders, and I think it's exciting that he decided to take the job over in Jackson State. A lot has happened in the community. A lot of trajectory has changed as it relates to recruiting because of him going to Jackson. I remember you telling me some time ago you wrote an article on the current, the top athlete that just recently signed with Deion Sanders. You actually wrote an article on Travis Hunter some time ago. Kind of give me an idea how that article you wrote tie into that what's happening right now.
So you can actually check out the article. It's on Substack. You can just search it. Football for Intellectuals, Substack.
Okay.
So pretty much on that article, I wrote about 2 months prior to Travis Hunter signing to Jackson State, and pretty much in the article, I just kind of detailed or recapped his visit to Jackson State. He took a visit there earlier in the season after he had been committed to Florida State for almost 2 years. And so the only reason that I was so interested in that was because, one, he's from Georgia, and two, I think that I wrote an article about Deion when he first took the job about over a year ago.
Okay.
And in that article, I basically was talking about the impact he would have and how it would just pretty much help kids broaden their view of what kind of school they could go to. When the NCAA made the name, image, and likeness bill, when they passed that mandate, it kind of made the playing field even a little bit different. I really think without that NIL thing, it would have been a lot harder for people like Deion Sanders or schools like Jackson State to bring in those top 5 athletes, regardless of name. Because despite Deion's name, right, Jackson State still has to produce that same allure without Deion Sanders anyway.
Oh wow. Okay.
So I think that it's really good in when it's doing. It's definitely opening up minds of athletes. These kids who have never even heard of HBCUs or haven't had the exposure to them. They're only looking at facilities and this and that kind of thing. Like the things that don't really kind of matter at the end of the day. Like it doesn't matter what uniform you have. It doesn't matter what facilities you have. It matters what kind of production you put on the field.
Okay.
And I think that's a big point too about that is like Deion Sanders really said it. He said that I don't care. I don't want the kid who's gonna choose a facility over what I have to offer in this program. Because at the end of the day, he's right. Like, yeah, facilities matter. You don't want you don't want crappy facilities.
You want the human.
But yeah, it's like
engagement,
Deion can give you a bigger. He not saying that the other school can't, like Florida State can't, but you know, Deion Sanders, an individual who says specifically that's what he wants to do. You know, it means something, and he's done it. He has three men himself who all played sports, who were successful, have been successful on the high school and the collegiate level. So it can be done. He's done it himself, and when the fact that he's the school that his number one recruit is committing to, I was a Hall of Famer from there, then it makes it look different as well.
Yeah.
Like maybe if it was a different school, he would have had an easier chance to compete with that. But the fact that you're committed to the school that I was a Hall of Famer from, that I graduated from and became an NFL Hall of Famer as well.
Okay.
Every time my jersey. Now that's the school you want to go to. How about you just come here and I can speed up your process for you.
Yeah.
Instead, you don't have to go there. You can come here to me and I'll show you exactly how I did it.
Yeah. Man, that's awesome.
I think that's one of the biggest things.
Before we wrap up, give me an idea of some of the schools that you had to pick from. In college, D1 offers and all that good stuff.
So coming out of school, I had some different levels. I had some FCS, of course. I went to FCS school at Mercer. So some of the teams in our conference, like Chattanooga, Simon.
Okay.
At the time, I had some FBS offers. I had smaller FBS offers. ECU, University of North Carolina, Charlotte, Troy University.
We visited a lot of schools.
Yeah, we did.
That junior year, between junior and senior year.
So
Vanderbilt, went to Vanderbilt.
We visited Vandy. Never
Troy.
had an offer from Vandy. Offer from Troy though. Offer from Middle Tennessee State. UNC Charlotte. I had some schools from up north like Towson. But yeah, I definitely had some really good schools to pick from. I mean, Mercer was a great school in itself. Also, and I just felt like, and I had a really good time in recruiting. I feel like that's where really what it's for. It's to enjoy it and kind of see. A lot of kids don't look at the entire picture. They just look at, oh, this school did this school did this.
Just the stats.
You gotta go. Yeah, you gotta go look at the school that is really for you. Like, how does the school fit you? Like, look at literally do the check. If I could really redo it, I would do the check mark thing. You know, I would really do that. Like, all the things that I feel like that really matter, because some things don't matter. Like uniforms, all that kind of stuff. Like, I would not even consider that.
Okay.
If I really did it again, like, I would not consider that. All that little small trivial stuff.
Okay.
I won't consider that. I would look at the dining halls. I would look at the coaching staff. I would look at all the other stuff, but I would not look at uniforms and all that kind of stuff.
Okay. Now, before we wrap up, I want to. I think this camera went out on us.
Yeah, I think it died.
But before we wrap up, I just want to get an idea. Well, let everyone know where they can find you and support you.
All right, so you can follow me on my YouTube channel. You can go to LeMarkus Bailey 3 on YouTube, or you can go to my. Or also check out my Stunt Nation Success YouTube channel. It's called Stunt Nation Success. That's STUNT Nation NATION Success. All right, that's on YouTube.
Put the link in the description below too.
Put the link in the description. Then you can also check me out on Instagram. You just go to Bailey Vision _. Follow me on Instagram as well for Stunt Nation Success at Stunt Nation Success. That's it. And then on Twitter at Stunt Nation S8. You can follow me on my Football for Intellectual Substack. That's my weekly newsletter. You can follow me on there with the email. You'll get updated on all my articles and podcasts that come out. And then also, if you want more football specific articles, you can also go to Inside the Hashes and search my name. Inside the Hashes is one of the leading sources for high school, college, and NFL media. So if you're a football fan, come check us out on there as well.
Okay, awesome. And little humility in here, but we have other projects coming as far as residential real estate development. Being my oldest son, you're going to be directly attached to that. You and I have been in discussion about a real estate school.
Right.
Whereby.
So speaking of the real estate school, that's going to be one of the new exciting things we'll have coming soon, in the next coming year. We're really passionate about helping student athletes transition into their next life, next phases of their career. So, providing those type of resources to people who otherwise wouldn't even have access to it. Make that a very important thing. And
it's key to generational wealth.
Right. So just helping more athletes and just people in general branch into real estate and finding different avenues that fit them within the realm of real estate.
Awesome. Hey man, it's awesome. It's a blessing. Most people don't get this opportunity to sit down with their oldest son, the legacy, and discuss success and look over the success that you've already accomplished.
Right.
What you've already accomplished so far, and also look forward to some of the larger developments and projects that are to come. I want to thank you guys for watching this video. You're a part of something great right now. I ask that you support this young man. Continue to support D. Bailey Speaks, the podcast that brings provocative and exciting content on all things related to mindset, wealth, of course, real estate, and in my opinion, the most important, family. So again, LeMarkus Bailey, my legacy. All right. I'm going to have other interviews with my other two boys, so stay tuned for that. If you enjoyed this content, please be sure to hit that notification bell, subscribe, leave your feedback and comments below, and be sure to share this video. All links will be in description on how you can be in contact with LeMarkus Bailey, his endeavors, and things that we may have going on together. Again, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. D. Bailey Speaks. I hope you listen.